We're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Krista Medina. I'm the Events and Visitation Manager at the Visitor Center at Eastern Washington University. Today we are doing a webinar specific to the College of Business, and we have a few representatives from that college joining us today. Specifically, we're going to be talking about the Entrepreneurship program. So we're really excited today to have Professor Bruce Teague with us today, and also Lloyd Dees from the Collegiate Entrepreneurship Organization Club with us today. So the way that the webinar is going to look today, we're actually going to start off with a presentation, and Bruce is going to kick us off with a presentation and kind of talk a little bit more about what that entrepreneurship program really is at Eastern, kind of get some of those questions answered, and then we'll go into a Q&A following that. But Lloyd will also talk about his experiences within being a part of the club and learn more about the $40,000 startup challenge. So welcome again. I think we had a few more people joining us. Thank you guys for joining us today. I know this is a tough time, and we're adapting and trying to offer more virtual events. So we'll have events added to that calendar where you access the webinar. We'll be adding more to that, so make sure to check back and see if there's any other events that you'd like to attend. But this is our first of the academic webinars, so we'll be hosting webinars for all the academic colleges here at Eastern this week and next week. So if you are interested in any other majors, be sure to check that out. But I want to go ahead and let our guests here introduce themselves and talk a little bit more about themselves, and then we'll get started with Bruce's presentation. So I'll have Lloyd start. If you want to introduce yourself, Lloyd.
Okay, my name is Lloyd. I'm currently a junior at Eastern Washington University, and I'm the president of the Collegiate Entrepreneurship Organization, is Entrepreneurial Club on campus.
Yeah. Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you, Lloyd. And Professor Teague.
Hi, everybody. I'm Bruce Teague. I am professor of entrepreneurship, but I'm also the director of the EWU Center for Entrepreneurship. So in one role, I oversee the degree related activities on campus. And in the other, I oversee all of the other fun things that we have going on campus. And one of the great things about having Lloyd here today is he has experienced so much of this firsthand that I can tell you about the opportunities, I can tell you about the startup challenge and things like that. Lloyd will be able to give you the student point of view as somebody who's actually done a lot of these things. So you can kind of take your questions either direction with that.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, we're really excited. So I didn't have the opportunity to be in the entrepreneurship club when I was a student. It didn't exist back then, but we're excited to have it here at Eastern now. And for those students that will be joining us in the fall, this is a club where you can meet other students that are interested in being entrepreneurs. And Bruce is going to give us a little presentation on more what it takes to be an entrepreneur and what we have that Eastern offers. So I'll hand it over to Bruce so he can start his presentation, and then we'll do a Q&A after.
Yeah, and one of the things I really want to emphasize before I start sharing my screen and kind of going into presentation mode is we are really excited to have you guys here. We're excited to have the interest that you're showing by being here, but a lot of what we do is open to absolutely everybody on campus. And so not only are we looking forward to having you guys engaged with us and participating, but we're looking forward to you telling other people that you know about it, because everybody can find an opportunity here. So with that said, what I want to do today is I want to introduce a bit about entrepreneurship and about our program, and then we'll just open it up to you and see which direction you want to go with questions and what we can answer for you. Okay, so about myself, I guess if we start out, it's great to have a chance to talk with everybody here. We're really excited that you took the time to spend it with us. We know that this is a new experience and we're still dialing this whole thing in, but thank you for being here and giving that time. I arrived here in 2006, so a long time before we started the entrepreneurship program. And so the entrepreneurship program itself is something that I began working on in 2015. And we didn't launch the program until fall of 2016. So we're a relatively young program. And so all of these opportunities are really new on campus. The club is new on campus. And that means there's a lot of great opportunities for you to get involved and to kind of leave your mark on EWU. Over the course of my career, I've been part of founding a company. I've worked with entrepreneurial ecosystems all over the world, including Copenhagen and Amsterdam. I spend a lot of time working with Copenhagen, Denmark, their ecosystem. I currently hold the EWU Foundation Distinguished Professor of Entrepreneurship position at campus, and I am also the Executive Director of the EWU Center for Entrepreneurship. And again, I'd like to reiterate, and I think it's the most important thing that I can get across in this conversation, is that we have entrepreneurship opportunities for everyone on campus. So whether you want to study entrepreneurship as part of earning your degree, or whether you simply want to be involved with entrepreneurship through the activities we have opportunities for everyone. So this is an amazing time to be working towards a degree kind of at this time period in the world. The modern economy that you're going to build your careers in is one that is now driven by innovation, and especially in countries like the United States, where we can no longer be low-cost leaders in manual intensive production. And so we are going to be the innovative leaders in the world if we're going to hold our position. And so we've truly entered what can be defined as the innovation economy. So those who succeed in this new economy are going to be people who master the skills that relate to recognizing opportunities, assessing needs, and leading the development of new solutions. In other words, they're going to need to develop strong entrepreneurial mindset, and they're going to need to become strong entrepreneurial leaders. And that's really what we focus our programming on. Entrepreneurial mindset is a way of looking at the world. It's a way of thinking about the world. So entrepreneurs recognize opportunities for new solutions to problems. They spot the unmet needs of people, and they know how to confirm an idea is actually worth investing time and money in, along with how to confirm that the solution they have in mind is actually a good one to move forward with, that is actually going to meet that need. And all of these things are things that can be learned and practiced. So these are all things that you can master during your time while you're at EWU. So much like anyone can learn to play the piano, anyone can learn to be an entrepreneur or be entrepreneurial. If anyone can learn to be entrepreneurial, then it makes sense that anyone who is persistent, resilient, and willing to learn can become a successful entrepreneur. Thus, entrepreneurs come from all backgrounds and all experiences. And what they share in common tends to be a strong desire to make a difference in the world. They are people who want to create jobs for others, and they are people who want to make a life out of doing something they care deeply about. And in this current generation, the generation that most of you probably were born into, those qualities are very deeply ingrained in this generation, that desire to make a difference. So these are just skills that you can practice and master that allow you to successfully make those differences in the world. I began creating our programming in 2015 with a vision of creating opportunities for anyone who comes to EWU. So in fall 2016, we launched our initial degree in entrepreneurship, a minor in entrepreneurship, and that minor in entrepreneurship can be attached to virtually any degree on campus. Now, as we've grown across this, we have also added our bachelor's in music and technology. It's actually housed out of the Muse School, and we're working on 3 new degree programs and a couple of new minors at this point in time. Along with developing our curricular programming, so the degree-oriented programs, we also launched the EWU Center for Entrepreneurship, and we began what is now known as the EWU $40,000 Startup Challenge. So that happens every year. fact, we are just coming up on the finals of this year's $40,000 Startup Challenge, and we'll be giving away a bunch of money next month to the student entrepreneurs who competed this year and made the finals. Earlier this year, the work that we've put into building this program was rewarded. We were selected by the United States Association for Small Business and Entrepreneurship as the top emerging entrepreneurship program in the world. So that was really exciting. While our classes provide great opportunities to understand and apply entrepreneurial skills, really entrepreneurship is about doing, it's about practicing, it's about really getting your hands dirty with things. And that's where our co-curriculars come into play. Our co-curriculars are open to anyone on campus who has an idea that they want to work with, or anyone who simply wants to find new friends, make new connections, and try some new things out. Opportunities on campus include our annual $40,000 Startup Challenge. This is a 4-stage competition to grow new student business ideas. It includes our chapter of Collegiate Entrepreneurs Organization Club. So we have EWU CEO, and members of that club can also travel to the CEO Global Conference each year. So for instance, Lloyd, who is on this webinar with us, traveled to or attended the CEO Global Conference this last fall down in Tampa, and actually competed in the global pitch competition finals with his business startup. Beyond that, we have our Technology Commercialization Academy, in which students work with new technologies to develop commercialization plans. And we are working on a Women Entrepreneurs and Business Leaders event. We hoped to launch that this year, but COVID-19 affecting travel the way that it does caused us to put that on hold. But we do hope to launch that event next year, and there'll be opportunities to be involved with that. Beyond all of these things that happen on our campus, there are numerous student competitions that take place around the United States and around the world. And again, Lloyd actually qualified for the finals at the TCU Values and Ventures competition, which is one of the most prestigious student business startup competitions in the world. So there are a lot of opportunities beyond us, and there's a lot of money that you can earn through these competitions to actually start your business and get it going by the time you graduate. So how can EWU Entrepreneurship help you? Well, there's really 3 wins that we were hoping to create for students who pursue entrepreneurship. One is that you graduate ready to start your own business. But that is certainly not the only win that you might achieve with this. And we know that most students don't actually start their business right after graduating college. In fact, a lot of them go on and begin careers first and then start a company up. And so that leads us to another opportunity, which is instead of working in a standard traditional large-scale corporation, you have the opportunity to begin your career in a startup or growing company, what the government calls phase 2 companies. And these companies are looking for entrepreneurial difference makers, people who are going to add new value to their companies. The jobs at these companies offer you an opportunity to make unique contributions, not just to come in and do the same job day after day, but to create that difference that you're going to make for the company. And so these are really unique positions. These are companies that without entrepreneurial skills, it is very hard to obtain employment with, because unless you can create value, they can't really afford to keep you there. And yet, while they only represent 14.6% of companies in Washington State, they represent 37.6% of new jobs. So this is a huge opportunity in the economy. And finally, if you don't choose one of those first 2 opportunities, entrepreneurial skills and mindset and thinking will help you stand out from the crowd when you're interviewing for jobs with those top companies like Amazon and e-tails. And with that, I'm going to wrap up this portion of the conversation, the overview. I'm going to turn things over to Lloyd for a minute and let him kind of talk about his experiences. And then we'll answer any questions that you've got, and feel free to take it any direction you want to go.
Okay, thank you, Bruce. So as I said, I'm the CEO president here on campus, and really, for Easton, honestly, there's a lot of opportunities for entrepreneurship in general, but in CEO, it's actually really crazy because even earlier today, I got an email from a startup asking for help actually with 4 students in Easton's camp from Eastern Washington University CEO students. So things like that actually is popping into my email a lot from the startups across the nation, and even just the networking events available. Like currently, I'm in an actual group chat with other CEO presidents across the globe, and there's over like 100 people in this group chat from all corners of the U.S. and even in Canada and Russia. So it's actually really cool to actually network that to do stuff like that, but also that honestly, just the experiences you get in our social program. As Bruce mentioned, I was a finalist in the TC Valley Adventures competition, and I went to probably multiple different competition cycles for stuff like this. And in terms of job prospects, it's really honestly just a lot because in the startup space and even in like the investment space, working for like an investment firm, there's a lot of different opportunities that you can do. Yesterday, I was actually talking to a person he's a venture capital associate actually, and I met him at the CEO conference in Tampa, Florida. And he's currently got that job because of the experience he had in entrepreneurship. So there are actually things you can do besides even just launching a business, as was mentioned, but having the actual experience on campus, doing these competitions, going to like the TCA Academy, and even doing like being in the club and just going to the networking events and conferences is huge because people like to hire who they know. When we get to conferences, you get to meet a lot of the actual big people here and across the nation. It's a really great opportunity, honestly.
Hey, Lloyd, can you also talk briefly about attending? So you've interacted with our angel investing community in Spokane as well. And I know that you and your team were at the Triangle Ventures event earlier in the fall. Can you talk a little bit about that experience?
Yes, actually, something that's really cool, and a lot of like people our age, because I'm actually currently working on a startup right now, and well, all of us are like 20 to 21, so it's crazy. We actually went to so if you know what an angel investor is, actually, we're explaining what an angel investor is, but normally they're more of like professors actually, and like people in the community, like family and
They are
friends.
not professors for the most part. I'm one of the few on that.
Yeah, okay.
But these are entrepreneurs and investors who are looking for those early companies that need a financial boost in order to get started. And so usually when you're starting out your company, you start out with a bit of seed capital, which is kind of the range that Lloyd's company is in right now. And then if you start to grow, that first round of investment, if you need investment in order to grow, and we always encourage bootstrapping as long as you can, but if you need that first round of investment, oftentimes that's where angel investors come in. And I am an angel investor. I'm a member of our angel investor community, and that's what Lloyd was interacting with, was the angel investing group in the Spokane region.
Yeah, so as Bruce mentioned, in the fall, there was actually an expo there. And well, the entire Angel Lands came, and a lot of different speakers from even Seattle came, and they were speaking at the events. It was honestly one of the coolest events I've been to all year. It was really a lot of fun. I assume for somebody like Bruce, it goes to them a lot. It's probably normal. But for me and my team, to us, it felt like it was a really cool experience, honestly, because we sat at the table, and it was really cool because everyone knows who Bruce is too. It was kind of fun, honestly, just saying we know him, and that we were students. It was really fun talking to all the different investors there and the other people who work on social community in the greater Spokane area and even the Pacific Northwest. Because honestly, we made a lot of great contacts there. We actually met the CEO of one of the fastest growing startups in the area, and now he's even like a person that we even reach out to in time to time, and he even applies back to us because we were introduced to him by the entrepreneurship program. And it's really fun once you get into it because not only do you get help with your startup and you can see the resources available in the Spokane community and through East Entrepreneurship program, you also do gain really valuable connections with the people who are there and in Spokane. Because Spokane's a really cool entrepreneurship ecosystem because everyone knows each other, and it's honestly, it's more like less well known, so it's not as I guess intensive as maybe Silicon Valley would be.
By the way, Lloyd, can you also briefly talk about what it was like to be at CEO Global and what that experience was like? Because that's something we're really trying to help get at least a few of our students out to each year.
Yeah. So actually, I'm sorry for not bringing that up. The CEO Global Conference in Tampa, was in Tampa, Florida this past fall, was definitely one of the highlights of my actual time at Easton, because it was the first time I actually went to a professional conference and met people from like across the world. It was really nice because everyone was there, one, to network, and two, there were actual venture capitalist firms who were there looking to invest in student companies. And it was really a lot of fun to actually meet other people doing different things and to meet the speakers, because the entire event was designed to help students actually network, get jobs, and even get help with their startup. Because we're here on the West Coast, but even earlier today, I actually emailed the professors at the University of Tampa about something. So it's really just cool to actually network like that. Because I know every time I go on LinkedIn, there's a lot of people like, oh, I remember meeting them there. It's fun what they're doing now. Or I can reach out to them and see how they're doing in this. Because everyone's there to help each other and support each other. It's really just a great environment to be in, especially if you're really looking to land a job at such a company right outside of college.
Well, and just to add on to that, because I've been to it a couple of years now with our students, and you've got about 750 entrepreneurship students from around the country and around the world. It is super high energy. It is so much fun. Everybody is trying to do something cool. The speakers are CEOs and founders of companies. The founder of the Grommet was one of the speakers this year, the founder of the Penny Hoarder. And you not only get a chance to hear these people speak, but you actually get to meet and talk to them and ask them questions. And it is just a ton of fun.
Yeah, it's really just, it's like Bruce, it's really high energy. It's really fun for the students, honestly, because it feels like everyone's like just meeting each other for the first time. It's fun to see what other people are doing, how you're doing. Really, the second you like walk into the hotel, it's gonna be a really fun weekend.
That sounds like a lot of fun. Definitely a great opportunity. I always like to tell students that, when you're in college, it's all about, building your resume for after college. And it sounds like Lloyd has really built that resume. And some students don't realize the importance of networking and getting to know people. One of the things I absolutely love about Eastern is the fact that you actually do get to build a relationship with your professor as well. But I did want to ask a question for Lloyd specifically. So Lloyd, I know you're not actually a business major. So tell me more about your startup and like what enticed you to, because you're a psychology major, correct?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. So I'd love to learn more about that. Please tell us a little bit about that.
So I'll start off with my major. My major is on psychology. It is psychology. I'm minoring in industrial organizational psychology. The reason why I picked this major particularly was because at the time, at like the beginning of the school year, I was looking at doing something in like neuropsychology, and I wanted to do like neuroscience in actually starting a company for like neuroscience, but I later changed into more of psychology because I like the idea of looking at different organizations, how to make them grow faster, and especially how it ties into entrepreneurship and how can you better effectively make an organization grow faster. In terms of competing in entrepreneurship, honestly, I just fell in love with the idea of building a business because in my head, you build a business to solve a problem. And it's a really fast and seamless way to actually build a business. You can solve this problem and you can help society out by doing it. And that's the way I always saw entrepreneurship. And the summer before I came to Easton, I actually started an online college blog, and I entered into Easton's competition. I became a finalist in the last year, and then I entered into the Northwest Entrepreneurship competition. And I was a finalist in that also, and that was my first year of doing anything entrepreneurship, and that was before I had any actual training in it. So, and I just really enjoyed the environment. I enjoyed the professional opportunities that were available. I enjoyed the type of, I enjoyed like business development, and honestly, economic development, empowering communities, building businesses to solve problems. In terms of the startup that I'm working on right now, it's actually, it's a little bit of an interesting one. We use a WSRIP for it, and it's like a smoking filter that filters out 66% of carbon dioxide, 80% formaldehyde, and 9% particulate matter. It's 100% biodegradable, and it's tied to cigarettes and joints. And currently we're actually doing really well on it. We're obviously like Bruce said, we're competing in the finals Eagle Nest pitch for the first $1,000 prize. And actually, I just got an email from we're hopefully going to do an accelerator program at the Washington State University actually. So we can actually, and that's 20 to 30,000 of non-dilutive funding, which means they just give us, think of it like a free check that's not going to take any equity in our company. And honestly, I know for the attendees, you might not know what a lot of this means, but I promise you, once you do, it's really cool, and the opportunity is just honestly kind of amazing. The fact that like we can even do this at Easton, to me, it's really just crazy because a lot of the things that we do, it's like the things you see on TV, honestly, in terms of like startups and doing things like that. It's really exciting. But yeah.
Speaking of TV, can I jump in for just a second?
Yeah.
So because you've been through you were in the finals last year. This year, obviously, our finals got thrown kind of haywire with the campus going online due to COVID. But in our normal finals for this event, it is a showcase event. We've got a lot of investors from the community there. But as you know, Lloyd, we do the whole Shark Tank thing up. And it's you know, we've got the music and we've got the host and it's a lot of fun.
It really is.
Great big checks.
Yeah, honestly, I was really looking forward to this year because we were going to pack the stands this year, honestly, because a lot of Easton's professors are very excited about the fact that the students just love it. And hopefully, if we're in the fall, actually, the CEO Club is actually planning like a giant entrepreneurship event in the fall. Actually, hopefully bringing like speakers from like Seattle or the Pacific Northwest. Hopefully we'll pack like the Pup NCR if we can be in person in the fall anyway. So that'd be really cool to do that. And then we'll have the Eagle Nest pitch and then the women in entrepreneurship. And it'll be a fun year.
That sounds fun. I've actually have never attended the challenge itself, but I know that I unfortunately had to miss it last year, but I was really looking forward to it as well. And just to kind of segue to that as well, can you talk a little bit more, Bruce, about some of the other startups that students have pitched in this challenge?
Wow, it has blown me away. Actually, this year was really exciting. This was our first year going to the startup challenge format. We had a lot more money to invest in student businesses. And so in stage one, we can accept up to 50 student companies. And we blew through that in 2 days, where we had 60 teams register for the competition this year, just from Eastern Washington University alone. So this is just for our campus. And so in round one, what goes on is students with business ideas, they give elevator pitches. So just 1.5 to 2 minute little pitches to a whole bunch of different people from the Spokane community, different entrepreneurs, investors, business leaders, executives, etc., lawyers, and they pitch over and over again. And we had a huge variety of business ideas in that room. Everything from your small business in Cheney to things like what Lloyd is doing that are scale. We then moved into stage two a couple of weeks later, which is a trade show format. And one of the companies is actually working on a brand new biotech for acne. One of the students actually out of our music and technology entrepreneurship program has digital technology that attaches to instruments that allows the musician to not only play music, but to play light and to completely change the visual experience of what's happening. We have a woman in the finals this year who is reinventing the bra from the ground up. Let's see, we've got a company that is, they actually have a working prototype for a mini malting machine to help microbreweries and to bring down the cost of producing microbrew across the country for these small scale things like, for instance, Perry Street Brewing Company would fall into this space. Our very first winner of the competition 3 years ago was a young woman named Victoria, who actually had a working prototype for it was basically a dongle that you could plug into your phone. But what it would do is it would create a hard firewall protecting your device from public Wi-Fi. So we've had all sorts of stuff come up in this. It's just been amazing. And the students at Eastern from all over campus, we had at least 4 of the 5 colleges had students that were competing in the competition this year. And the ideas have represented the diversity of those backgrounds. They've come from everywhere.
That sounds really cool. It sounds like we have a lot of students that have some really good ideas out there. And, you know, within the College of Businesses are a lot of different departments. You know, we have our finance and marketing, our accounting and stuff. And so entrepreneurship kind of, you know, captures all of those. And can you talk a little bit about some of the classes within the entrepreneurship program and how it entails like all of business?
Well, I'm not sure I understood the last part of the question, the way you meant it, but I can talk about the courses. So what I would say is entrepreneurship in some ways is really not as businessy as business. I wouldn't really consider entrepreneurship to be a business discipline in the traditional sense. And that's what we're seeing in the trends nationally. Entrepreneurship is now tending to become a separate college outside of the College of Business because it works so broadly with all disciplines and backgrounds. But when you look at the kinds of courses, so all of our courses, whoops, that's coming through on me. Hang on if I can get rid, I don't know what's going on here. Okay, apparently my phone and my computer are talking more than I intended them to. Anyhow, remind me where we were at when I got started.
We're talking about the courses within the entrepreneurship program.
So all of our courses, we haven't designed a course around textbooks. We haven't taken a book and said, this is our class. Everything is around learning by doing. In fact, all of the professors that teach entrepreneurship for us have actually attended 3 days of intensive training called Experiential Classroom to learn to create classes where students learn through being actively engaged in doing. So for instance, we have, everything is built around skills and competencies practice. We have Entrepreneurship 387, where students learn different skills related to researching a new business idea. And right now, spring, I teach a 2nd-year course in the program that is business model design. So what I'm doing right now is I'm working with students on how to create the business model that would go with a new startup idea. In the fall, I've got 411, Entrepreneurship 411, where the entire focus is on how do we develop and validate a value proposition for people? How do we find out what they really need? And how do we figure out that what the solution we have in mind actually meets that need, that it's something that they want and want badly enough that it's a good business idea. And by the way, I should emphasize, when we talk about entrepreneurship, it isn't just for-profit companies. It's for-profit, non-for-profit, the same skill sets apply. It doesn't make any difference that way. So one of the coolest startups that I've seen come out of our area in the last 2 years is a young woman who has a nonprofit business going that is helping young girls in Africa be able to attend school. And so just because I know some people may be thinking about making a difference in a nonprofit way, and we do work with nonprofits as well, it doesn't make any difference. So all of these skills apply regardless of what kind of organization you want to start and what kind of difference you want to make in the world.
That's really awesome. So now we're going to open it up for questions from the attendees. So at the bottom of your screen here, you see a Q&A function here. So we want to know what questions you have for Lloyd, what questions you have for Bruce, and we'd like to answer those questions. So go ahead and start submitting your questions, and we'd love to get some of your questions answered. All right. You don't have to be shy. We can't see you.
Somebody's got to go first.
I know, somebody's got to go first. Sounds like everybody's being shy today. Yeah. Cool. So when is the competition when is one of the winners can be announced?
So that has all been in flux. I expect to have information out to analysts, including Lloyd's team, on Thursday afternoon. I'm actually attending a webinar tomorrow morning to learn how other universities have created virtual finals for their competitions, so I can get some ideas from them. So I expect mid-May we will have the virtual final, and we will award the last $22,000 of the money that is available this year. And then for those who are online right now, what they may want to know is that we will start the competition again next February. So they've got some time to develop their ideas and to think about how to pitch that idea and stuff like that in order to be ready to participate.
All right. Well, thank you, Bruce. So it looks like we have a few questions. So Betty is asking, what's your favorite part about the program? So I guess, Lloyd, if you want to answer that question.
So my favorite part about the program, honestly, is for me personally, I always want to look at job prospects and how I can advance my career and really do something I really love. And my favorite part about the program is honestly is the professional development opportunities, because there is a lot available. And if you take advantage of them and you network well and you know how to actually do and do the programs, then you just have a lot of opportunities handed to you, honestly. Because employers really want someone with an entrepreneurial mindset and who's actually innovative. And that's really just across in the industry. So that's my favorite thing about the program, professional development opportunities.
Awesome. Bruce, do you want to add anything? What is your favorite part about even just being the professor in the program?
You know, I have had more fun in the last 3 years of my career than I had in all the years prior. And the reason for that is that in the prior years, when I was teaching traditional management courses, it was very much, here's the information, and then we're going to discuss it, and then we're going to take a test on it, etc. In this program, I actually get to work with the students on their ideas and to develop and help evolve those ideas. And so there's a really hands-on, tangible, I get to know the students in a different way. I get to know their ideas. Not every idea is a winner, and we try to help them get to that point quickly too. But it's really dynamic. It's very tangible. It's very real, and there's a certain authenticity to the whole experience that for me has been completely different. So for me, it's so much more fun.
That's awesome. Okay, we have a question from Lucas here. He's asking, so are the competitions for the program similar to DECA in the way that they are set up?
And my answer to that would be, I don't know the answer in that I have no experience with DECA's competitions. We have not intentionally created any sort of a parallel to them. We don't have knowledge of those. Competitions of this sort are well established all over the country and around the world, but we kind of created ours from scratch based on the skills and competencies we wanted students to have the opportunity to practice and to align them with mentoring. So we actually connect them with a lot of feedback from different professionals along the way. So I guess just quick overview, in stage one, it's a lot of elevator pitching. It's talking about your idea over and over again, and it's learning to hear what other people think about that idea, because hearing can often be really difficult. And those people that we bring in, they really want to help you make your idea better. In stage two, we give you a bigger opportunity to present your idea and to kind of demonstrate that idea. So that's the trade show format. And we still have 20 to 30 judges that are circulating in that room. But now it's incumbent upon you to not only develop that idea, but to be able to attract somebody to want to engage with that idea. So they're wandering around, but they don't have to stop at your booth. You have to win their attention over. And then in stage three, which is what Lloyd will be competing in next month, that's where our top 10 teams of the year are competing for part of $11,000 to $12,000 in prize money, plus another $10,000 in seed capital that will go to our top firm. And that's more of a full Shark Tank style pitch. So if you've seen the show Shark Tank, it's a little more complete that way. And so every step, the business idea develops a little further and there's more feedback involved.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Bruce. Looks like we have another question from Dulce Reese. She asks, how can I use the program to help with the foster care system? So you mentioned that somebody used, you know, they're pitched an idea to help a nonprofit. Have you heard of anybody helping with the foster care system or anything like that?
I haven't heard of anybody working specifically with the foster care system, but we have had students in our analytics program working with the homeless issues in the city. And so a certain parallel structure there. I am friends with the daughter of the founder of the Vanessa Behan Crisis Nursery, which also works with women and children who come from domestic violence issues and who need safe places to make transitions in life. So we've worked with some parallel kinds of things. That said, the foster system challenge is a huge, huge challenge in this country. Not just the foster system itself, but also the aging out problem. There are tons of opportunities there. And what it takes is somebody who cares about that problem enough to learn more about it, to identify a part of that problem, because you can't take on the whole thing at once, and to develop and test a solution. And I always describe that process of testing and coming up with a solution as playing hot and cold with the world. If you remember that game where somebody picked out something in the room and you try to find it and your only feedback is warmer, warmer, colder, colder. Well, what we're trying to do is teach you how to get that feedback from the world about your idea. And what you're trying to do is follow those warmer, warmer feedbacks until you get it dialed in. And so to me, finding issues or places to contribute in the foster system would be a tremendous opportunity.
Yeah, it's one of the great things about being in college. You have so many opportunities that are presented to you, and it sounds like in the entrepreneurship program, if you have an idea, they can definitely get you connected on how to, bring that idea to life. So I have a question for Lloyd here from Alexander. How do you join the CEO Club?
So actually, you can join the CEO. You actually just email me, and I'll reply back to you. Wait, can I just
want to drop your email in the chat?
Yeah, I can just do that.
Awesome. I do know that our Office of Student Life has a website as well. Are you guys on EagleSync?
Yes. You could make the sale off the Student Life. It also direct you towards me. You can just email me if you want to join the club, and I can tell you what it's about. And hopefully, in the fall we can meet.
That's awesome. You're not graduating this year, are you?
No, I'm a junior.
The junior. Okay. Well, we got Lloyd for one more year.
By the way, just to jump in, obviously we all hope that we can be back face to face in the fall and that everything will be right back to normal. Even if we aren't, we are going to be entrepreneurial. It's what we do. We are going to find cool things to do, fun ways to connect, and we're going to keep the club rolling along. So we're going to find ways to get there.
Great. Okay, and looks like we have a question from Robin. If you're coming in with a business idea, what kind of support does faculty provide? So Bruce, can you answer that question?
Yeah, and I'm not entirely sure quite how to understand that question. So if you're coming in with a business idea, all of the experiences that we've set up, the CEO Club, the competition, the program, the coursework, all of those provide different opportunities to get feedback on your idea, to get new input on your idea, and to develop that idea forward. And so right now, entrepreneurship is housed in the business college. And so our primary degree, our focal degree right now, even though we're adding new degrees on, is a BAB degree, a Bachelor's of Arts and Business. And it's going to be a BS, I believe, as of this fall. What that means is you typically wouldn't start your coursework in entrepreneurship until late in your sophomore year at the earliest. Usually you're working on your core requirements prior to that. But as you come in, that's one of the reasons we wanted to create all of these opportunities for you. You can start entering that competition right away. You're going to get mentoring and feedback and development on that idea. Within the club, we're putting together events where you can, again, get feedback and development on the idea, where we're also creating opportunities to learn how to give an elevator pitch and how to do each of these pieces along the way so that that idea develops and continues. And then you can always reach out to me, and you can be looking at our TCA program. So we've got all of these different activities that allow you to get the kind of information and support that you need. And then, of course, we've got the programming. And as you reach that late sophomore year, early junior year, you can move full scale into the programming if you really want kind of that formal directed help with developing that idea further.
Can I tell you something about that too? I actually came into Easton with an existing business idea. It was like my first like startup I ever made, and I actually did get quite a bit of help doing it from the actual faculty support at Easton. And if you're coming in with an existing idea, like Bruce said, you can just reach out to the faculty. But also, since we have the CEO club, we can also just reach out to the CEO because we're bringing in a lot of speakers, honestly, and I'm building the club with famous speakers here and definitely in Spokane, inland Northwest.
Well, and that's another really important thing that you bring up, Lloyd, because we are really well connected to the entire entrepreneurial ecosystem here in Spokane. And so it's not just support from faculty, and we do have a lot of engagement from faculty all over campus at this point. But we also have all of the mentors and events and things like that that are going on in the community as well. And so there's a lot of opportunity to engage not just with our faculty themselves, but with entrepreneurs, investors, lawyers, et cetera, that we bring in to assist.
Great. All right, we're going to move on to a couple more questions here before we end our webinar. So Jordan is asking, how do you help students gain internship opportunities working with a startup company?
You know, like I said earlier, we are a very young program. We started in 2016. And so we are actually looking to grow opportunities for student consulting with startup and growth phase companies that will hopefully help bridge that. We also have companies that are starting to reach out to us looking for interns. And so for instance, like Consolidated Electrical Distributors is looking for entrepreneurial students to intern with their company, and they've got paid internships. We also connect into a lot of the startups and growth companies in the Spokane area. And so for students who have an active interest in that, and one of the things about it is working in the startup space is different than for instance, working in a traditional corporate career space. In a traditional corporate career space, you might be thinking, I want to work in banking, or I want to work in insurance or whatever. So I'm going to go work with that kind of a company. I'm going to go do that kind of a job. In a startup space, it's as important that you find a startup that kind of matches an issue that you care about as it is that you're working in a startup itself. And so getting to know who you are as an entrepreneur and as an aspiring entrepreneur really can help us figure out who should we be connecting you to and what conversations should we start. And then a lot of it goes right back to what Lloyd was saying. We create lots of opportunities to meet people and to network. And it's really through meeting those people that those opportunities start to evolve. So as Lloyd said, he's getting contacted a lot now because people know of him and know what he's been doing. And so now they're eager to bring him in and work with him.
That's awesome. I know that networking is just so important. You know, when I first got hired at Eastern, I went into my interview and I knew 4 or 5 people in the interview. And it really was from being in college and, you know, making those connections, because you never know who you're going to end up bumping into down the road. And I know Jordan asked the question of what sorts of networking events. If I know you kind of briefly touched on that a little bit. Are there any other networking events that you guys do regularly to provide for students?
Actually, the Center for Entrepreneurship and the CEO Club, we're just in the process of planning next year's calendar of events when campus got shut down to go online. And so we actually have a variety of different events that we're talking about putting in place for the calendar. Now, one of the things we're trying to do is we're trying to line up so the CEO events complement and go hand in hand with the other events that are being put on by the center. So for instance, if we're going to travel if some students are going to travel and attend CEO Global, it makes a lot of sense for us to time a how to professionally network event ahead of traveling to that, so that when they go into that environment, they know how to take advantage of it. And so Lloyd and I are working closely to try to connect that calendar and to create those events where we're looking at doing some fun things, some entrepreneurship game night kinds of things or movie kinds of things, some speakers like Lloyd was talking about. And we also have some great EWU alum entrepreneurs that come in. So like Ramsey Pruchnick is a fantastic speaker who started a couple of companies. But then also looking at creating events where you can mentor and meet up intentionally. At the same time, for instance, with our Startup Challenge competition, we design those events so if you look at traditional pitch competitions, what would happen is a team of students walks into a room. There's 5 judges sitting in front of them. They give their pitch. The judges ask them a few questions and write on a piece of paper. They leave the room and that's it. That's not how we do our competitions. We create a lot of chance for you to talk to people, to get to know people in the community, to get feedback from the community. And then we create social periods, social time within the event. So for instance, in stage 1, we've got about half an hour to 40 minutes built into the schedule for that evening between when you're pitching and when we're announcing who's moving on to stage 2. That is time where you can sit down and talk to those people that you now have gotten to know by pitching to them in the first go around. Now they're familiar. You've got that icebreaker already. So now we're going to give you 40 minutes where you can go continue the conversation with them. And that's your opportunity. So we all of these things blend and merge in that way. So lots of opportunities that way.
That's great. Lloyd, was there something you wanted to add that the club specifically does?
No, I think Bruce Anthony covered it great.
Okay, cool. So we have our last question of the webinar, and this is could be a kind of a long one. We might want to follow up with Alex here, but how do you create a startup?
We have a very clear philosophy, and one of the things I loved about Lloyd's initial talk was when he talked about how he started his business, he nailed our philosophy as a program to a T. And that is, we believe in finding a need. So there's kind of 2 ways that you can think about starting a business. If you go back 20, 30 years, people would start out with a business plan. And we don't encourage you to do that right away at this point. But they would start out, and it was the build it and they will come kind of mentality. It was you build what you think you want and then hope you can find somebody who wants to buy it. That's not a great way to be successful as an entrepreneur. What we teach you now are skills for identifying and recognizing problems that exist out there or needs that people have that aren't being fulfilled, and then finding ways to meet those needs or create solutions. So for instance, somebody earlier brought up the phosphor system. There's a great opportunity there. There's lots of problems that can be solved better. One that my daughters have been looking into of late a lot. I've got 2 younger daughters in elementary school, but one interest that they've taken on is vertical agriculture and vertical farming. And so they've started looking into all of these products that exist out there where you can grow vegetables and things like that in your home with just a bit of nutrient, water, and the spice. Well, somebody created that. Somebody decided people need to be able to have less expensive access to healthy vegetables and produce in their home. And they created that. And so, and I've got a lot of video clips and things like that that can help. So if you reach out to me directly, I can link you up to some of those resources as well. But it all boils down to find something that needs to be done or something that needs to be done better, and then figure out how to do it.
Yeah. Sounds like there's a lot of room for innovation and stuff within the Entrepreneurship Club. And that was our last question, but I do have one more for both of you. Why should students do the Entrepreneurship Club at Eastern?
Lloyd, go ahead and answer that one.
Okay. I honestly think you should do Entrepreneurship Club at Easton because really it's just if for nothing else, the networking opportunities available. It is just crazy how well established this club is nationally and worldwide. I mean, even today, earlier today, in the giant group chat for all the chapter presidents, we were talking about different opportunities across the nation, and even just this past week, we actually had a giant worldwide conference student made for entrepreneurs, and over $500 were given out in prize money actually that was student made, and it's really cool for it because even as collegiate entrepreneurs organization, they actually do a lot of jobs because a lot of companies actually look to this organization to recruit entrepreneurial students to come to their companies and work for them. And as I mentioned, we're in Tampa, even like actual investment firms go to them. So the club is actually being looked at just for the type of students that they produce and the students that don't come out of their clubs and organizations because honestly, getting a job sometimes can be very hard for those who've never done a job hunt before. And just even having all this experience in doing it and just knowing people and networking is really amazing. And it's not even counting the professional development opportunity that you can do, or even the skill that you can learn from doing all the information nights or even startups, pitch competitions, honestly. It's really just a lot of fun. And it's really just a great opportunity in college.
Well, and one of the things I would add to that is that an entrepreneur isn't something you start out at. An entrepreneur doesn't just have this epiphany moment where it's like, I suddenly, ta-da, have this brilliant thing to bring into the world. An entrepreneur is something you become over time by persistently pursuing something, by not giving up when you hit those dead ends, but by looking for new paths to get there. And while you're in that process of becoming, it's a lot of fun to be around other people who have a lot of energy for making a difference. And our club is a great opportunity to be around students at Eastern who have a lot of energy and passion for making a difference. So they are a great group of students to hang out with, to get to know, and to receive support from as you're finding that idea that will become your entrepreneurial path and journey. And Lloyd pointed out earlier, the business that he's got in the competition this year and that he's been competing nationally with is the second business that he's competed with. And it really is this evolving, learning, adapting process, and being around the energy of people who care about making a difference, who believe that you can make a difference is great. When you come to a university, one of the big things that's going to determine the memories and the emotional connection you have to that university, how much do you feel like this is home, is do you have that group of people that support what you believe in doing and the differences that you want to make. And this club is all about doing that. The other thing I would say is if you have any chance at all, and we do try to provide some support for this, especially to the students who are most involved with the club, but if you get a chance to get out to CEO National or to the global conference, that is our club on steroids. It's amazing to be around that much energy and that much potential and that much enthusiasm in one place. And all along the way, you're going to be exposed to ideas and things to play with and problems until you stumble upon that path that works for you and your entrepreneurial journey.
A great answer. Now, I think you got me, Bruce. I want to join. So
Come aboard, we want you.
Yeah, does the club need an advisor, staff advisor, or are staff allowed to join? We have one more question, our final question of the day from Dulce. Can your immigration status be a setback at all with any of this entrepreneurship program?
I am unaware of any way in which your immigration status can be. Certainly in terms of joining the club, absolutely not. In terms of being welcomed into the competition, absolutely not. you know, there's a huge history of people from all different backgrounds becoming entrepreneurs. So the immigration entrepreneur history in this country is huge. So, I mean, the only possible setback I can, or hang up I could see at all would be way outside my control, but that would be if there is any sort of hindrance when you get to the point of legal formation of the business. And that's way down the road. Everything else happens in front of that. And all of the skills and things that we want to practice and learn and developing the idea, all of that can take place anyway. So I am unaware of anything that would hold you up that way, and we certainly welcome everybody in.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you for Bruce and Lloyd for spending this last hour with us talking about the Entrepreneurship Club. I think I need to go back to college and, and start over because you guys convinced me. But thank you everybody for joining us today. As I mentioned earlier, we do have other webinars throughout the next couple weeks, so make sure to visit our calendar and sign up for some other ones. But thank you for joining us. I hope you have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.